Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to dive into something really important, a framework that is absolutely crucial for anyone trying to implement AI. Doesn't matter if you're a team leader, an entrepreneur, an educator, this is for you. It's called the Living Systems Architecture, and it tackles a problem that's way more common than you might think. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. We tend to think of AI projects failing with a big bang, right? A huge, obvious crash and burn. But that's not usually what happens. No, it's more like a slow leak, a quiet, corrosive process that just eats away at trust, confuses your best people, and weakens the very soul of your organization. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by unpacking that quiet failure. Then we'll reframe the entire problem, which is a huge shift. After that, we'll break down the 5 layers of the solution. We'll look at why that first step is the most critical one. And finally, how you can actually start architecting your own future.
Okay, let's jump right in. Why do so many AI projects, ones that start with the absolute best of intentions, just drift off course? And worse, sometimes end up doing more harm than good. Let's find the root cause.
Now, take a look at these symptoms. What do you notice? They're not technical problems, are they? These are human problems. This isn't about servers crashing or buggy code. It's about the slow decay of the things that actually matter. Your team's trust, their coherence, your brand's integrity, and all that collective wisdom you've built up over the years. And this is the key insight. We think automation is going to fix our broken systems, but that's not what it does. It's a giant amplifier. It takes whatever your people are carrying, all their clarity, their focus, their alignment, and it makes it louder. But if they're carrying confusion and chaos, well, it's going to amplify that too, at a speed you can barely comprehend. And that brings us to the core idea of this whole framework. We have to completely change how we think about this. It's time for a major reframe. So let's just pause on this for a second. The entire conversation out there is about prompts and models and tools, but what if we're all looking in the completely wrong direction? Here is the fundamental shift. The common mistake is seeing AI as a simple tool problem, where you just need to optimize a workflow or build another dashboard. The core insight is to see it as an intervention into a living system, your team, your culture. And when you do that, you realize the priority isn't the workflow. It's protecting the shared meaning and coherence of that system. And that, right there, is exactly what the Living Systems Architecture is. It's a framework that starts with the human elements. It's about preserving your meaning, your memory, and your culture while the machines get smarter. It puts the human part first. So that's the big idea. But how does it actually work in practice? Okay, let's dig into the blueprint itself and look at the 5 layers that make it all happen. Here they are. Think of these 5 layers like a stack. They build on each other from the foundation up. And if you ignore one of them, especially one of the bottom ones, the whole structure gets wobbly and eventually just starts to drift. You can't skip steps. We start at the bottom, layer 1, human psychology. This is the thinking layer. And really, it's all about cognitive load. You know, how much stuff a human brain can actually handle. If your team is already drowning in information, throwing another AI tool at them isn't help. It's just more chaos. The goal here is to use AI to translate complexity, to make things make sense before you automate them. A perfect example of this in practice? Using AI to take a super dense academic paper and translate it into something a grad student can actually absorb. That's a win for the thinking layer. The failure mode is what we see everywhere. Just more dashboards, more content, more alerts, until everyone is just completely burned out. Next up, layer 2 is emotional intelligence, what we call the agency layer. This is all about a team's confidence, their momentum, their ability to actually get things done. When a team seems stuck, we always assume it's a discipline problem, but it's almost always a friction problem. Something is in their way. Good AI reduces that friction, and when it does, that agency and momentum just naturally come back. Layer 3 is so critical. It's institutional memory. Most organizations have what I call memory hemorrhage. All this valuable, hard-won knowledge is just stuck in a few people's heads. And when they leave, that knowledge just walks right out the door with them. This layer is about building systems where learning actually compounds over time instead of constantly leaking away. You notice it's only now at layer 4 that we even get to the machine itself. This is the governance layer. And this is so important. An AI is never neutral. It's like a sponge. It's going to soak up all your unwritten rules and your internal culture, and then it's going to amplify them. You have to actively govern its behavior, or your brand can start to drift at machine speed. And finally, at the top, layer 5, compounding strategy. This is the scale and legacy layer. This is what makes sure all your AI efforts become durable infrastructure, not just a series of disconnected, flashy experiments. This is what makes the system last.
So we've got these 5 layers. But where on earth do you start? While the framework is really clear about this, you start with orientation, and you do it before you even think about choosing a single tool. And if you remember one thing, remember this: your culture is the primary control interface for machine amplification. That's not some soft, fuzzy concept. In the age of AI, your culture is literally the steering wheel. If the culture is confused, the AI will amplify confusion. If it's coherent, the AI scales coherence. It is that direct.
And this is why orientation has to come first. It's a deep, reflective process. It's where you clarify your identity, stabilize your voice, and name what actually matters before you start building. I can tell you, nearly every single one of those quiet AI failures happens because this foundational step gets skipped. So let's bring it all home. When you follow this framework, you're not just managing risk. You're moving from a position of constant, quiet failure to a place of restoration and genuine strength. You know, everyone is worried that AI is moving too fast, but that's not the real risk. The real risk is misplacement. It's putting this incredibly powerful force in the wrong layer of our living systems. When we do that, we don't just lose efficiency, we lose meaning, we lose memory, and we lose trust. This quote just frames the opportunity perfectly. The winners of the future won't be the fastest automators. They'll be the best architects, the ones who can masterfully weave together the human and the machine. So the logical first step is to figure out which layer in your own organization needs restoration first. Is it the thinking layer, the agency layer, the memory layer? Identifying that starting point is the most important part of building an AI system that actually lasts, which is exactly what an orientation call is designed to do. And I'll leave you with this one last question to think about. Look at how you're using AI right now, or how you're planning to, and just ask yourself, honestly, is this on a path to scale clarity, or is it just set to amplify the confusion that's already there? The answer to that question, well, it changes everything.